we can look at the nature of enlightenment from two different directions. That the ordinary people, not you guys, but somebody out there who's ordinary people make effort and begin a process of willpower which gradually changes who they are. They develop strategies which bring wholesome results. And wishing to become uplifted, they seek a spiritual path. And this spiritual path, of which there are millions, it seems, some of them, they feel disappointment. Some of them, they practice very diligently and pass away and return in another form to continue practicing that or another form of spirituality. It would be rare to think that spiritual people have only practiced, say, Catholicism or Buddhism in their many lives. It would be rare, not impossible, but quite rare. And that means that I don't want to get carried away there. And so, finally finding a path which matches the needs for the removal of obstacles and beginning serious practice, culminating in an inner event which is called awakening. Because this awakening happens in the very place where you are actually alive. You're actually not alive on the outside. You very good actors, you know. And this event of awakening has a cascade effect on the appearance being on the outside, which is you. And you appear to be an enlightened or awakened being. Now the real work begins. If we're talking about the bodhisattva path, that is the first stage of a learner bodhisattva who is like a bull in a china shop. Have you ever known someone who discovered how to be a do-gooder? And they rush around and do good, dragging little old ladies across the street whether they want to go or not. And discovering the awakened state. Young bodhisattvas, learner bodhisattvas in the first stage, know this is the baseline of the enlightenment, is that you know, not just intellectually, but in your bones, you know that this world is illusory, that it's not real. This is the both an intellectual as well as an experiential awakening. This is the awakening. Beyond that, there are still residual compulsions, like someone who gave up smoking. Imagine what it would be like for someone who gave up the illusory, who still wants the presents under the tree. They don't believe in Santa Claus anymore, but somehow they still expect, hello dear, they still expect to receive something from the illusory state. Huh? A great deal of confusion over a very long time. Huh? Please come sit closer here. And so, for a very long time, this junior bodhisattva is bonded to a Buddha level being, because they're too wild and untrained at this point. And so our refuge that we learn carefully begins to train us in the expectation that the enlightened state is not a final result, but in fact the guidance and refuge will need to be in place for, say, the next 1,000,000 years. And so we learn to expect and to rely in a way, with something we call reliance. We learn to rely on guidance, and the new bodhisattva is bonded to a Buddha level being for further training. And so depending upon the qualities of that young, we'll call him Padawan, huh? Like that, like a Star Trek Padawan. This Padawan, and needs to purify, tremendously purify. And attains enlightenment as a bodhisattva. There's another kind of awakening, which is, I mean, for want of better, of something better, and they write about this in scriptures and etc. We can call it second level bodhisattva. This bodhisattva is not nearly so tormented as a first level bodhisattva. First level bodhisattvas want to rush back to their home state and to save all their friends. This is actually a characteristic. And so in a way, they know it's illusory, but in a big way, they still act as though it is illusory. This stage can take quite some time. And on through the various levels of purification, that they are put to work. I'll say it that way. They're put to work. That they are expected to benefit others in order to accomplish their own purification. And so they become vast, highly skilled servants of living beings. And these servants are receiving training. While they are serving, they are becoming more skillful. They are actually learning how to help living beings by helping living beings with the guidance of a Buddha level being. Isn't that reasonable? Okay. And so these bodhisattvas gradually develop clarities which they could not have even imagined as a first level Padawan. Eventually, this being becomes so clarified that they helplessly enter Buddhahood. Buddhahood is a more vast way of being than a learner bodhisattva. Even in the Buddha realms, there are different levels of Buddhas. And so these Buddhas all have in common what makes a Buddha different than other living beings is that every Buddha has perfection as its interior. You understand? This perfection, how that Buddha, who has not yet entered perfection, but has perfection as its interior, there is so skillful, and so capable, as you can imagine. At this point, many relying upon this Buddha level being, including the bodhisattva students. And at this point, the Buddha level being actually doesn't have a great deal of desire to enter perfection, because it is in a location and a position where it can perform such benefit that they never want to stop. Buddhas never become discouraged. Bodhisattvas can become discouraged, but Buddhas never become discouraged. And being irreversible in its enlightenment, there is very little need or very little desire to advance. And yet, even the Buddhas, even the lower level Buddhas, will need to enter perfection, and that is the real paranirvana. That does not happen in the human realm. That the paranirvana that people speak of, that their teacher entered paranirvana, etc., that is not possible. It has become a social, and I don't mean to complain, but okay, here we go. It has become a social, gracious thing to say that one has entered paranirvana. It does not happen in this human realm. It is a much more subtle, let's not lower the bar. Let's not lower the bar of what actual Buddhahood is by making an Buddhahood an honorific, and really that's very true. Hello, dear. And so this Buddhahood, this, you can bring your chair a little bit this way, a little bit more, you can sit there. There you go. This entry into perfection is the vast culmination of an exquisitely long process, and that is Buddhahood. And that is Buddhahood. Perfection never moves. Perfection is the true dharmakaya that is spoken of in the scriptures. Many Buddhists who are practitioners, after a year or two of meditation, are pretty sure that they touched dharmakaya. Not so. I know. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, I think it was last year or the year before, at a teaching, he said that one of his Western students was explaining to him that he had, there was an earthquake, and that he was so shocked, because he told this to His Holiness the Dalai Lama, he was so shocked by the earthquake that he couldn't think, and he entered the dharmakaya state. And I'm sure His Holiness just went, what? And so the unmoving state, his paralysis in the face of an earthquake, somehow in his mind became the event of dharmakaya, and I don't know if he ever, anyway, this is one of the best jokes I've ever heard. And so the, now we look at it from the other way. From dharmakaya, which is unmoving, the unmoving state, that the stirring of compassion from dharmakaya is expressed by the emanation of a Buddha level being. The Buddha level being becomes the expression, activation of compassion from dharmakaya itself. Only dharmakaya level, only dharmakaya has the entire story. Has the entire story. From dharmakaya emanates a Buddha level being, remaining dharmakaya in the Buddha level being's interior. Now, this Buddha, as well as Buddhas who are on their way to perfection, have the capacity to emanate. Now, when I say this, it sounds pretty magical, doesn't it? You know, you emanated. How many times did you emanate? 3? How many times did you emanate? 1? 2? How many children do you have here? 2. You emanated twice. You emanated 3 times. Did you emanate? No. Did you emanate? No. And so the human being is capable of emanation in a very different way, but the process is still the same, and I believe the urge to emanate is still the same. I've never emanated, but I'm okay. And this process of emanation has a kind of care module. Let's talk about human beings. A kind of care module which remains in place. I don't know, how old are you now?
35.
35 years ago, and steady here. It's her son. And one has a compulsion to be alive in one's children no matter how old they are. And it is, although it is a little bit less as they get older, that when children are small, that this urge to be alive in your child is so very strong that mothers or fathers will often lose their own identity in favor of this product of their, I mean, I'm saying it in a very clinical way, that it's not about, romance or love or anything, it's just, but you've got to care, you're compelled to care, all right? And so this, if we look at it according to the vibrational level, the subtle level of the living beings which are emanating, that we can see that the gross emanations, producing children and caring for children, has a certain strong dynamic. However, the clarity and openness and vast view of perfection emanates a being who is powerful and vast itself, while remaining as the interior, the inner mind of the Buddha level being. This Buddha level being, in turn, can emanate countless bodhisattvas, countless, not 1 or 4, not even any special number, numberless bodhisattva who are the actual working arms of the compassion of perfection. And so now we have, including in many cases, deities. The deities are the perfection in the form of Buddha level or Bodhisattva level beings. And so this, this Bodhisattva level being is on an equal par as far as skill with the learner bodhisattva. True, they're doing the very same kind of work. However, one is in a process of clarification, and the other one remains perfection interior through Buddha level being. This explanation is not one that you are going to find in scriptures. Actually, it may be in scriptures. I haven't read them all. It may be in scriptures, but it is not something that is explained, and certainly not explained to fairly new students such as yourselves. However, I feel it is valuable for people to know that the emanation bodhisattvas have many responsibilities, and they generally have responsibilities. They are emanated with purpose. They are emanated with purpose. However, the learner bodhisattvas may have practices which makes them purposeful, but they are working more in general on purification. So like that. And I actually don't know how I started this. Oh, you said it, because you said that enlightenment was Buddhahood. There you go.